Peace.
Peace.
This is Jahshamel, Mr. PhD. You're just now entering the cipher called Real2reel360. K-Wise.
Peacegod.
Bring that beat in, kid.
Indeed.
Peace.
Yeah. What's going on, party people? Welcome to the Real2reel360 show. Let's get it in.
We do the knowledge and wisdom so you can understand. Real360 shows in full command. We changing the game for how it all was taught. From bondage to freedom to an independent thought. Yo, the show is here to bring about a change for real. To lighten everyone so we all know the deal. 360 degrees is a fact. We created the show to give our love back to our communities so we can know what's going on and give them the support from knowledge to born. So if you're ready to learn, then it's time to go. Sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Peace.
Peace and blessings. What's going on to each and every one? To Allah's mighty 5% nation of gods and earth, to all the human families of the planet Earth, I bid you peace. This is DJ K-Wise, a.k.a. Kato. Welcome to another episode of a fantastic show. Of course, you know what it is, Real2reel360. But it wouldn't be Real2reel if I didn't have my other half to make it complete. You know what I'm saying? So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'm going to bring on my co-host with the most, none other than Jahshamel Allah, Mr. PhD. Peace, Almighty.
Peace, peace, peace to all our followers and listeners. Make sure that you liking and subscribing, hitting that button. But today we have a very, very dynamic show. We're waiting on this one. This one right here, you know, this individuals, I go way back, but this is family. You know what I'm saying? Nothing but family. This is nothing but love. So today we're going to talk about marriage, love, and relationships and how individuals who are married can make sure that they do things to keep their marriage going. So today we have Mr. Chaz and Alicia Cohens, who are the authentic love marriage coaches. Kay, could you bring them on?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I know a lot of times people say we bias and everything else because we have a lot of individuals that come from where we come from that's on our show. But that's just telling you the greatness that comes from the area that we grew up in. So today we have two individuals that I have a lot of love for. And every time I see, you know what I'm saying, Miss Alicia Cohen or see her and her sisters, I holler out Stephen Street because that's the block we grew up on. And it's nothing but love for her and her family. You know what I mean? Because our families always intertwine. So I would like for Mr. Chaz and Miss Alicia to come on and introduce themselves to y'all so y'all know exactly what y'all in for today.
Okay, ladies first.
Ladies first, that's
ladies
right.
Ladies first.
As the God Jahshamel said, yes, honestly, truly, we are from Stephen Street. You know, from the Veld, exit 21 all day. But all day, no matter what part of the country we are in, we still always represent one another when we see each other and we have mad respect. The other part of that is what we do. We are a coaching company, right? That is a his and her. So you get in two authentic, unbiased opinions. So you're not just going to see so you'll say, okay, I'm going to see the counselor, I'm going to see my marriage coach, and it's just a lady there or just a man. Right now you will have access to two coaches for the price of one. I hate to say it like that, but it sounds cliche-ish, but that is really, and then he could give the history about how long we've been doing this and stuff like that.
Well, before I give the history, I want to say, brothers, y'all doing y'all thing. I've been seeing this podcast, man, in certain platforms, man, and I'm like, yo, that's who we're gonna be on the show with. I'm thinking like, yo, man, I've been seeing
family.
this.
It's family.
Hey, man. Hey, thank you. So this is an opportunity, man. I'm seeing the sign for the first time. I'm like, oh, yo, what's up? Hey. My name is Chaz Cohens. I am the husband of this beautiful lady right here from Stephen Street. Okay, yes. I'm from Greenville, South Carolina.
Get out of here.
She was looking
DJ K1 said for real.
For real.
I'm
Greenville,
very
South
familiar with
Carolina,
Greenville.
man. And
Yeah.
I guess people would like to know what's the Stephen Street and Greenville, South Carolina connection. Hey, it's all God, and it was all authentic. Okay. So just to give you a little bit of history about our experience in this line of work, we actually got married 6 months after we met, 2009. And we actually just kind of like, okay, hey, look, we both been through some rough times in relationships. Hey, our relationship is going to mean something. So we need to make sure that, first of all, we have the heart for couples, and what we want to do with it. So fast forward we got married in 2009, 2011 with our church family. They put us in the ring and gave us marriage coaching experience, training. And we actually started there first, and going into 2013, we were full-fledged coaches in our church. And then we started working with a company called 2 Equals 1 out of Denver, Colorado, doing group coaching, where we were coaching 5 couples at a time. Okay. From 2013 up until 2020, we said, you know what? Hey, let's branch out.
Let's do our own thing. Yeah.
Alicia was furloughed from a job. She birthed Authentic Love Marriage Coaching, and I fell right on in. This was a vision that was birthed from Alicia while she was furloughed from a job. And I said, hey, babe, let's run it. And here we are today, 2 years later. We've coached over about 50 couples in 2 years, and it's still climbing. We wrote a book called Marriage Coaching 101 Daily Tools. And now we have a podcast called Your Authentic Love Marriage Moment with Chaz and Alicia. As you can see, we're in our studio. So, hey, this is the history of us. And I'm telling you, brothers, if anybody out there on social media, y'all miss Stephen Street. I don't know what's on Stephen Street right now. But hey, I think I got the last of what's on Stephen Street.
That deserves a round of applause.
That right there.
You know what I mean?
Before I go into the question, Stephen Street was family. All of us was family. I think we stayed 2-3 doors down, across the street. We all played in the street together, hide and go seek, freeze tag, everything. Little kickball, everything on that dead end street. We didn't have to go anywhere to find friends and families and things of that nature, because we were all that with each other. So we were always family. And it used to be funny because I have a cousin that came from the South, and we used to all pick at him about the way he used to speak because his dialect was so strong, right? But it was family. But honestly, like right now, I wanted to know, like, what really inspired you to want to say, I want to be an authentic love marriage coach for people?
This is what transpired in our relationship, right? We kind of looked at the coaching industry, right? Most people that's in our industry that are coaches, they kind of want to hold you down to a 6 month to a year contract, kind of get things up front. But then we saw a lot of couples who are really having a hard time. They didn't really want to deal with them and tell them the real truth about their marriage, because there was a lot of opinions involved in those counseling sessions. Right. It would be a single coach. It would be either a male or a female, depending on the situation. The coach would go in favor of whoever and back off of their experience and their heart for people.
Right.
So when we came into the mix and saying, okay, hey, let's change the game a little bit. Okay, let's come from what science is really saying about relationships, right? A lot of coaches don't come from the scientific part of a relationship between spouses, right? What I mean by scientific meaning, okay, was there a trigger or a trauma before that relationship? All right. What is the history of their parents' relationship? Okay, were they abused? Okay, because there's a lot of couples that get married and there's a lot of things that's covered up that the spouses don't know. You know, but with different questions that we ask about the past, we can pretty much pinpoint where the root of the cause of the relationship is, and we want to explore the real, authentic truth behind the fact that what brought you two together. What was the love that you experienced in the beginning?
Right.
And what we want to do is breadcrumb back to that start and bring things back forward to where you are now, to say, okay, hey, all is not lost. You guys are together for something. So we want to just explore that real authentic love in their relationships.
Right, right. So then the other thing is that we have modules that we teach, right? So it's a session like this, right? We have coach people from California to Connecticut. And so when they come to us, and it's usually one of the spouses that don't even want to come. I don't want to be bothered. You know, we're going to another counselor, we're going to another coach. But when they come, it's like the buck stops here, because we give them so much more, right? So as we're coaching them in a session like this, a live session, we're actually giving them a freedom, a space to speak and speak their truth, right? Because think about it, so many times that we don't want to tell our spouse really what we okay, babe, yeah, that's fine. But then when you do speak your truth, then it's like a whole argument. Well, you never said that before. We've been together 16 years. Now all of a sudden you don't like the way I cook rice, or you know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden you don't like the way that my hair looks, or something like that. But he or she probably was concealing that fear, and we call it concealed fear. So we're going to get into communication and stuff like that as well. But that's what made us want to do this and be authentic, because we wanted you to as my shirt says, hashtag I'm authentic, right? You know, shameless plug. That is that is our clothing line, right? You see what I'm saying? And so as you're authenticating your marriage, there's a lot of things you got to talk about. Some people may, when it first time they raise their hand and say, we're going to marriage coaching or marriage counseling, the first thing they say, okay, so the counselor or the coach will say, what is it you need? Right? They'll say, it's communication. Man, no, it's not communication. That's a part of it. But it's a true fact. One of the things that we did find out in communication, that that communication is one of the number one reasons that people divorce, because I can't talk to you. Right. And if you don't feel like I could have an authentic conversation with my spouse to spouse, then there lies a deeper situation, because we're going to get into that. But once we get into the communication, we're going to go, we're going to go further into that. So we will have a little small segment on communication, and we're going to talk, and we're going to get dive a little bit deeper into that. But hopefully that answered your question, the reason why we started.
I just want to add this real quick. There's going to be some commentaries that I'm going to pop up.
Okay.
And there's going to be some maybe questionnaires or whatever, but some of the ones we're going to pop up, if y'all look at them, if y'all feel like y'all want to address any of them or go with them, you feel more than free to do so.
Perfect. Okay. All right.
So I got a couple right here. One that says, speak about your queen.
Okay.
Dr. Harris says, trauma, if both have experienced it in a marriage, can be challenging.
Yes.
Then you have another one here, I guess, says, this is why couples counseling or coaching is important. So from time to time, you'll see a couple of these. I'll pop them up at any time like that. So just to let y'all know.
Let's go back to the one where the trauma, and so we can speak
right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask a question about that, but yeah, definitely.
So with the trauma, right? Trauma, what we've been taught, okay, and myself and Alicia have went through anger management certifications, right? So we can actually do certification classes. We can do classes on anger issues, right? So what happens is a lot of people don't understand the way the mind operates after a traumatic experience, right? There's a traumatic experience that takes place. All right. If it's not dealt with, if the trauma is not dealt with a particular person, right? And they keep avoiding the help, because you have to talk to somebody. But let's just say I feel like talking to, I just want to stay to myself, and you have that, right? The mind actually goes into stages from that traumatic experience, which is trauma, right? It'll go into stress, it'll fall into depression. Once it falls into depression, it'll fall over into a temperament, right? You'll start noticing a change in that person's behavior after that trauma. If it's a long period of time and there's nobody that has addressed it or talked with you or gotten help with it, then after that traumatic, after that temperament, it falls over into something dangerous, all right, which is the personality trait.
It becomes a personality, right?
When it becomes a personality trait, that means everything that you were worrying about in your mind and what was stressing you out, now the body is like, okay, I'm ready to take it in.
Right.
Okay. And it releases from your mind and it goes into the body, to where if someone you see that's having ailment or any issues sleeping at night, high blood pressure, okay, it's due to a traumatic experience that happened and it never got dealt with, and now it's a personality trait where you'll see, okay, hey, so and so wasn't like that 2 or 3 years ago. But what happens is when you get married, you're thinking the new life, okay, of the new life is going to change all of that.
Right. But then too, the personality comes and it brings in other stuff as well. So you now find yourself eating, drinking, or smoking, right? Or one of those things, right? Because what you're doing is you're beating up the body, because now the body has taken it in, right? So you're looking at somebody, you're like, man, yo, he looks different. Or you may not eat. You may just, you're a chain smoker, or, you may be doing something different because the body has taken it in, and now the body is looking for relief. If the body can't find relief, then the relief will come from something else.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was another question that I was talking about my queen, right? Speak about your queen. And I want to say this to guys that's out there that may be having some issues in your relationships, right? Okay. Take a step back from yourself. Look at the one that you're married to, right? Your wife is actually there to be a helpmate, okay? I was married before. Things didn't work out. I was young, right around 27, 28 years old. It did not work out, right? So from the time I was 30 years old up until I met Alicia, 2004 up until, 2002 up to 2008. I made this promise to myself that, hey, look, the one that I meet next, hey, God, this is going to be the one. I had to involve God's presence in my decision. Alicia came about, and sure enough, she was everything that I needed and wanted in a woman to be my queen, right? Fast forward 13 years later, okay, I have no type of regrets of the decision that I've made to be married to this woman, because the gifts and the talents that she has, I need it, right? And the thing is, I embrace it because not only is she my second pair of eyes, but she has my heart in the palm of her hand, right? So I had to start developing this phrase that I have of the 3-strike rule. Anytime she sees something that I'm not really paying attention to, I give it up to 3 times. When she say, you need to look at that, you need to look at
Or
that,
if
you
I
need to look
mention
at
it
that.
3
Or
times.
if she mentioned it 3 times, it's my best interest to look at it because she's seeing something that I'm not seeing. And when I tell you, when I developed that, she's never steered me wrong.
And then it's for your protection too, right? Because some men will put it in the category of nagging, you know, like she's nagging. Right. But in all actuality, she sees something because you know that she has that wisdom. You know, and when she has that wisdom, you know, she up here looking and you guys are, you know, you may be at the surface level and you're saying to yourself like, okay, man, you nagging. But she up here, she's like, I see it, you know, so her wisdom is up there and it's exploding. She like that eagle eye and she see things and she's like, don't step left. Don't step left. Don't step left. 3 times she said it. You step left, then oh man, you out of work for a whole month because you stepped left. Because why? You know, you done stepped on the rock, and then you know now you done twisted or rolled your ankle. But listen, your wife, if it sounds like she's nagging, you know what? Take a step back and they get to know the reason why she says that. Or if she feel like she has to repeat herself, then take a look within yourself and say, what am I not getting?
Right.
So does the words "I told you so" have to follow that, even if it is a correct thing?
Well, here's the thing about "I told you so," right? The reason why, and check this out, the reason why "I told you so" comes into place is because we don't like to hear it, because it gets us into our emotions. But hey, truth is truth. They told us so. I wish that they wouldn't say it, because when they say it, it really hurts because they actually did tell us so.
Right. There's a question right here from Dr. Harris, right? Dr. Harris says she often hear Black folks talk about want to do couples counseling or don't believe in premarital counseling. Why is this an issue for brown and Black folks?
So here's the thing of the reason why it's such an issue in our community is because the stigmatism, and we naturally don't like we don't like nobody else telling us what to do, period. Okay. I mean, you telling me what? No, because when our feelings and our love is involved, counselors could actually see some things, especially if they're doing it the right way. They can see some things and advise you on not to do. But a lot of times we don't want to hear that. Right. We want what we want when we want it. And when we get it, when there's a mistake that is made, it's like, man, I should have, or I should have, could have, would have. But it's best to get another opinion before you jump that broom, because it's forever.
Right. It's life.
It's a lifelong life commitment. It's nothing to be played with.
Right.
So can we contribute that to traditional teachings?
Yes.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Yes. Most definitely. You can.
Right, DJ.
You can.
So think about that. So the reason why you don't want to, it's just like going to the doctor. Some people don't want to go to the doctor. I don't want to go to the doctor. You know why? Y'all listening? Because I don't want to know what's going on with me. I don't want to go to a marriage counselor because I don't want to know what's going on with the man or the woman that I'm going to marry. I don't want to go to the marriage counselor or the marriage coach because I don't want them finding out, seeing, you know, and seeing what you don't see because you got your blinders on with your love, You got your love blinders on, and you just run to the altar. You in love with the idea of marriage. You know what I'm saying? No, you in love with the idea of a wedding, but you're not in love with the idea of marriage, which is a lifetime.
Now that's where I wanted to touch at. The difference between a marriage and a wedding.
Right.
And how people look at the relationship based on the wedding and not the marriage.
Right.
Also, in the beginning, if you've been married before, is it best to go through pre-marriage counseling to work out some of the things so you don't bring it into the next marriage?
Right.
Most
that's
definitely.
What we did.
Most definitely. That's what we did. Because here's the thing: a lot of times we could be running from ourselves.
Right.
Right. And what I mean by running from ourselves, there could have been something that's my fault that caused the relationship to go sour.
Yeah.
Right. It could have been, you could have had the perfect one for you, but I screwed it up. Right. So therefore, if I go into another relationship without counseling, I'm going to screw it up again, because why? I need to get me out of the way. So if I don't get me out of the way, the other person that I'm going to be yoked with is going to have hell, because I ain't got rid of my stuff yet.
Ain't got rid of, look.
So it's best to go to counseling for someone to say, okay, this is the issue that you have. You might need to pay attention to this, because your soon-to-be spouse doesn't agree with some things that you're doing or the behavior that you've created for yourself. So it's best to do that, because here again, we tell couples all the time, this is your life, right? You only got one chance to live this life. And everybody's hope when they wake up in the morning, everybody's hope to wake up in the morning is to be productive in their life. Right? Whatever they're doing.
Right. To be productive
so
and
the
prosperous.
thing is, let me make sure that I'm doing this productivity of life to the fullest and in true authenticity.
Right.
Wow.
And there's something else I want to add to that. So when I told you that we would get a couple, one of the spouses say, hey, I didn't want to come here. And so we would always say to him, so let's liken it to sports, right? So we're going to liken it to sports. So you're like the number one player on your basketball team, right? So you can come down, you can dribble half court, you can shoot, you know what I'm saying? You rebound, you do all this other stuff, right? But the coach will say to you, you know what? I need for you to go to the dribble coach, because you're only dribbling, your strongest is to your right, which you should be, strong on both sides to your left. So I want you to go to, the dribble coach, and I want you to work on that. Coach, I've been playing, I've been doing this for 10, 15 years. I already got that. I know how to go to my left, go to my right. And so the coach was like, no, I need you to go head on and do that. So eventually you end up going, your marriage coach tells you, you know what? Hey, you do this, change this up. Then you come down, you scoring. You become now the number one scorer in the league, right? Just by you adjusting or tweaking that one little thing. So that's what we like in our coaching skills too, as marriage coaches. You come here, we're not going to tell you what to do, because that's not what we do. Counselors tell you what to do. Coaches coach you to a better life, to a better marriage, to a, to a better relationship. And that's what we do. It's just a little tweaking. We're not saying you all bad. You know what I'm saying? Because some of your bad is what, what turns into good, which, she may like the bad boy about you. You know what I'm saying? But you add a little bit of good to that.
Okay.
Right. There's another question from Dr. Harris. Do you coach non-traditional couples, long-term couples who have no desire to be married?
If you have no desire to be married,
we can't help, because here's the issue with that, right? This is not something that it's like, okay, let me make a guess at it. Let me just try it out to see.
Right.
Like I said, again, this is your life.
Right. And our company is Authentic Love Marriage coaching. We coach marriages, right? But if you're looking for
premarital,
and we do premarital, but if you're looking for a relationship coach, there are relationship coaches out there that do what we do. And I don't know if there's a couple like this, you know, because we're authentic, you know what I'm saying? All day. Ain't nobody from Roosevelt and Stephen Street. but all right, but you know, our company is coaching marriages, and that's what we do. And you know, thank you so much for bringing that up, because we do get a lot of people that we have to say, hey guys, we don't do non-traditional, even though in the past we have done it. But we want, when we have a premarital couple, we're coaching you to the end of the line. We're getting you across that finish line to marriage, down the aisle to marriage, right? Also, the other thing that we do, all of our couples that we have coached, they come back to us for a maintenance. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll like you always will have access to your coaches, Chaz and Alicia, your authentic coaches. We're certified marriage breakthrough coaches, and we're mastered in life and marriage, really, marriage and relationship coaching as well. So if there's an individual that want one-on-one coaching, you know, from Coach Alicia, yes, I can give you that. But I'm telling you, what my heart and my desire is to see Black love and see people win in marriage.
Yes, sir.
I think that I'm gonna go back, because I have to say that I was one of those persons very reluctant as to going to a marriage counselor. Why? Because it was one-sided.
Yes.
You know, not saying that the person leaned towards my wife's side or my side, but just because it was one person, and it was a male. I would rather have gone to a male and female couple, and not to say truly, I have to say I would like to go to my people that can relate more to our thoughts, to our issues and our concepts. Other
DJ,
than somebody else that has no clue about what really goes on in our family structure, our cultures, our ways of living.
Oh,
because the first thing they're going to do is implant some negative stuff that really has no clue with it, even though they may think it's good, but it can do more harm than good. So I want to applaud you to, again, for y'all coming on this show and doing it. I appreciate that.
You dropping that knowledge. You serious, and that was really one of our, like, when if we was to go back, I'm glad you said that, that was really one of our heartbeats. Like, you know, like when we said that we was with that company earlier, right? But that company didn't coach to us. You know what I'm saying? We, you know, it wasn't urban enough for us. You feel what I'm saying? So
right. And here's the thing, right? We have a lot of millennials, and I'm talking about African American millennials that want to experience married life, because a lot of them have come from single parent homes, right? And they want to experience it, but don't know how. We're the champions for that, because hey, a lot of our community have not gone through the stages of having successful married relationships. Now, I'm not taken away from grandma, grandpa, you know, those that from back in the day. I can truly say, for me, I came from that type of family, because my two sets of grandparents, you put their marriages together combined, it's over 130 years of marriage, right? So that's my lineage, that's my bloodline. But a lot of millennials now, you know, after the X generation, which is us, right? They want to know what this lifestyle is all about. And so our drive and our goal is to go in and help them experience what it could be, because it can be great.
Right. It can be great. It can be great. It just is, you know, it will require some work, some studying of your spouse. Like Chaz always says this, and this is the funny thing about it. He'll say, I study my woman. I was like, yeah, you study your woman because you know what that mean, or that side eye.
and on that note, how many brothers do take a seat back? Okay, get out of your emotions, put your wife in your circle or your girlfriend, and just study them, man. Just watch them. Just take in the conversations that they're saying. Sure enough, they're gonna tell you exactly how they want to be treated.
We sure would.
We just gotta
give you the roadmap.
We just gotta listen.
Just listen.
You know, and when we listen and then we act upon what they're telling us, Pandora's box opens up.
Now, the question I have for that is going into a marriage with expectations something that should happen or shouldn't? Because a lot of times people have expectations of what they think marriage should be.
Yes.
Most definitely.
Now this is what we always say for thank you so much. Appreciate that, Doc. So this is what we seriously and honestly, this is what we say about that. When we're doing premarital coaching, we always have them come up with a 5-year plan. Which sets the expectation. You see what I'm saying? So as you're setting the expectation, as you're setting the expectation, you guys are agreeing upon these expectations, right? So it's not just Alicia having her expectation, Chaz having his expectation, but we're agreeing upon the expectation. Because some like what you're saying, Mr. PhD, what you're saying is this, seriously, is this, if I'm hearing you right, like, okay, so I came in with my expectation, she came in with her expectation, and together our expectation ain't even meet.
Right, because a lot of times people go into relationships with unspoken expectations.
Exactly, and that's one of the reasons why premarital coaching is you have to have it. Go ahead, DJ.
I hate that word.
What word?
I truly do. Expectation. I don't think it should be a part of a relationship.
But you hear how I phrased it. I called it goals. Marriage goals for because you're right. Expectation. Yeah.
But when somebody says, "Well, I expected you to act this way, or I expected you to think like this," you can't expect that from me because I'm my own individual. I have my own way of thinking. Now, when we come together, that's why I said I don't read your mind, but I can tell when something is going on. But if you don't tell me, I'm not going to read it for you and then get a wrong thought or expectation, because that's how problems can erupt from expectation instead of saying ABC. I'm
just coming out with this.
I'm just straight cut through. Let's say it like it is. Because if I'm a type person, if I make a mistake once, then it's a shame on me. If I continue to make that same mistake, then know what? It's no longer a mistake. It becomes my habit. Right. And I got to deal with that. And that habit can cause eruption in my home. So the only person that can really fix it is myself first as we build it together. So that's why I said I don't like the word expectation. I can't stand that word expectation.
Well, if you put
nothing from me except being a strong black man that's going to do what he has to do, and like minds will think alike when we come together and communicate and talk about things that we like as well as what we don't, what we dislike.
I'm glad you talked about communication.
Right. See, here's the thing about
after he finishes that.
Here's the thing about expectation. Expectation is almost the same as love with conditions, right? Say, for example, you have an expectation, and then you have, I love you because of, I love you because of this, I love you because that. When you mention I love you because what you do for me, there's an expectation. But when the expectation runs out, they gone. So it's like, all right, do you really truly love me because you want to spend the rest of your life with me? Do you love me because it's my choice? That's the thing we got to find out, right? Okay. Why do you love me? All right. Why do you want to spend the rest of your life with me? Okay. And it has to be without the expectations and the conditions. Right. Is this thing truly authentic from the heart? I love my wife because I choose to. Every day is I have an opportunity to love her more than I did yesterday.
Right. We got to go back to that. Jahshamel, put back up. Well, I'll put it up from Dr. Harris, because this is what she says as far as expectations. She states expectations and goals are important. If you work 40 hours a week, you expect to get paid.
Exactly.
If you have a baby, you expect your partner to be a good parent and help. Expectations are not liked or followed because it holds people accountable. My 2 cents.
That's right.
Again, but see, expecting. Now, I know if I work 40 hours, I know what I should be getting, not expect. I know what I'm out there busting my behind for. So there's no expectation. If you don't give it to me, there's going to be consequences and repercussions.
There's a different kind of expectation.
All right.
Exactly. Totally get it. Exactly. But it's two different words. Like you said, that you should, I should get paid what I'm getting. Look, she's laughing. I know that's right. I am too, Doc. but yeah, so you just exchange expectation out with should, right?
Uh-huh.
So let's let's segue into the communication. Okay.
Go ahead.
I know that's right. Consequences because you're right. Because I'm going to boss man, boss lady. I'm like, wait a minute. I just checked my account this morning. I don't see not one thing. What should be in there. So you're absolutely right. So all right. So we're gonna talk about, because you were talking about communication, DJ. DJ K Wise. You said like how you was like, if we're communicating that, then I should, like, it's to communicate authentic communication, because what it does mean for a reason, where cause is a reason it happened. He dropped.
Hey man,
it gets solid.
Hey, y'all need to get Basim to be a guest, right?
That's our big brother right there.
That's Bishop.
Okay, that's what's up, Basim.
Yep, he did drop that. He did drop that. When we go into communication, right, guys? Mm-hmm. So we're talking about the communication, and the communication. Didn't you have to communicate when you dated?
Yeah.
And you were like calling her up, or y'all was texting. I know that we all, or you're paging. I'm only kidding. You remember the paging code? Oh man, he loved me. He missed me. The upside down 7 and all those stuff. Yeah. But anyway, 411, 711. But yeah, so when you think about the communication was so important in our dating process. Mm-hmm. You communicate. Oh yeah, I love you too. You're communicating that. Oh, babe, so you went to sleep. Okay, so when you woke up, okay, call me when you get from work. All right, you on the train, you on the bus, you on the plane. You know what I'm saying? So you communicated all these things, right?
Right.
Why is like all of a sudden, why does things like become like a halt after you get married? Like, you don't even communicate. You just get up and go, good morning, then you shower and you're out the door. You know what I'm saying? You're not communicating like, hey, yeah, I think I might just catch Uber in, instead of catching, instead of taking the train in, because this, that, and the third. Why does the communication become so less?
Now, I have a question about that, because, in the beginning, a lot of times individuals aren't communicating. They're communicating their emotions, but not their intent. Mm-hmm. And when
the difference,
it's a difference. So I'm communicating a way that you make me feel, but I'm not communicating my intentions that I have honestly with you.
It's the fear of the outcome.
Right. The fear of the outcome, that what I'm thinking and way I'm feeling and what I want to do might not mirror what you will accept. So a lot of times, like when people get into relationships, it's always, I love you. I love you. You go to sleep. No, you go to sleep. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. So when you get to that point and you get past what they say, what is the honeymoon stage, and you go into the relationship and you're trying to figure out where this person come from.
Right. Like, it's just that, right.
What the thing is, it's reality that sits in, right? Typically when the honeymoon stage, and we did a
7 levels of marriage.
We did this on our podcast, 7 levels of marriage. where after the honeymoon stage, the reality stage sits
which is
in.
the realization stage.
It sits in.
Right.
And once that sit in, that's where, where did this person come from? Oh my God.
He don't put down the toilet seat.
Right.
She don't even cook like she used to.
He don't do anything. But the reason why the intent is not communicated, because a lot of us have the fear of rejection, right? We don't want to be rejected. Everything that we have and we think once we mention it, it's supposed to be a go. All right. Nobody wants to hear the word no. Nobody wants to hear the word
with you
standard. Nobody wants to hear that. It's just, hey, this is what I feel. This is what I want. Let's run with it. You know, but when we get the pushback, that's when we have the issue to where it's like, all right, do I really want to deal with this or not? Instead of saying, okay, hey, let's think about it and let's communicate and let's talk about it.
And then talk about concealed fear with that too.
Right. So we develop this term called concealed fear, right? Which actually brings on prejudgment, right? Concealed fear is, all right, there has been an episode in the relationship for, we call it high intense moments of fellowship, right? Which is literally an argument, right? But based on that argument, there's always an aggressor in that communication. It could be either the man, it could be the woman, right? Anytime that there is an aggressor in that relationship, in that conversation, right? The one that's less aggressive pulls back. When they pull back, okay, let's just say this conversation passed. Well, the next conversation that happens, right? When it's approaching, there's something I really want to say, but now I remember he went off on me or she went off on me the last time. I don't want to feel that no more. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep my feelings to myself because I don't want to deal with that. Right. And what happens over time, when it's layer after layer after layer of concealed fear, after a while, somebody going to poke the bear and the bear going to come out all at one time, but it's going to be stimulated from the first time that you wasn't true to yourself to let them know how you really felt, you know? So the concealed fear, which is the suppressed fear of mentioning what you really feel because of the reaction. All right. We kind of trying to, you know, eliminate that and explore the real authenticity in you and let your spouse know, you know, what's really going on.
Right.
I'm glad you said that because my next question is this, going back towards anger management. Now, if one knows they have anger issues, even in the marriage, but just anger issues, period, for whatever can come. But during the marriage phase, you get into a heated argument. Okay. At a point where you know you're changing or your anger is changing you into a different mood swing. And you tell your next person, hey, listen, I need time. I need you to back away because I'm going into a different place or state of being that I don't want to be in. So I need time away. But the person doesn't understand that. It feels like you should be able to say what you want to say when and ever. But at that point in time, it's past that point, but they're not listening. So how, you know, what is the trigger point like, you know, because sometimes it can go out to an extreme and then it doesn't mean to be, but it can happen that way. It can be very explosive. So what can be the pre-measurements for both sides to say, hey, before it gets there, let me go ahead and give you your space, or do we just sit there and still just argue till the point of explosion?
Well, the first thing is, and it's a two-part answer to that is in the middle, at the beginning of the conversation, there needs to be some ground rules that need to be made before that conversation takes place.
That's what I was just going to talk about.
That's what she's getting ready to talk about.
Passive aggression.
Yeah, Basim seen our last podcast. Okay, we talked about that. So what happens is rules need to be put in place. Far as, all right, there's something that I really need to share. It might rub you the wrong way, but hey, if you just take time to listen, they're already going to be on the defense because everything that we have to say, okay, it's already a shield.
That was me.
It's already a shield.
Just talk.
But it's like, okay, I have to put these rules in place because it's going to hopefully calm your emotions.
Right. And
but
when he started doing that, he released the ground rule. I stopped going from
so when you
0 to 38 smoking hot.
So when I used to put ground rules in place because, hey man, I wasn't used to the she would go, her conversation would change and then the accent would come in. I'm like,
what you talking about?
Like, wait. You wasn't talking like that just a few minutes ago. What? I ain't used to that, right? I'm from the South.
The She-Hulk came out, y'all.
Man, I ain't used to that. So when I used to put those rules in place first, then it's like, okay, what, that accent, what is it, and I'm like, okay, it's stirring up. But then when I start talking, right, she will come. But at first, when it gets to that place where they're not listening to you, okay, we call it a strife break, right? When you mention a strife break, they have to respect.
Y'all see that?
You have to respect the strife break. When a person gets to a place
don't be the aggressive. Don't keep pursuing because then that's when things happen. You know what I'm saying?
Take a break. Right. Take a break. Do something. Go. But here's the thing: we have to make sure that after the strife break, you come back to the conversation because if you don't revisit the conversation. When there's another conversation, and then this is what we find out. When a conversation is not resolved, it's automatically going to go into the next conversation.
The next argument.
The next argument.
And we as women, we're going to be able to pull that up because we got a file drawer. If you ever seen that cartoon when he pulled that file drawer, you're right. Yeah. We're going to pull that. We're going to be like 1971. 30, 8:45. Where was you at? You're gonna be like, we're gonna pull it and we're gonna be coming for you, and you're gonna be like, wait a minute. You're like, and so one of the things that we did talk about in communication, like just like Big Brother just talked about, passive aggressive, and assertive, right? So when we're talking about that, there's one of the things that if you are a passive aggressive, now we're not just talking about passive or aggressive. We're talking about that passive aggressive person. Their line of communication is real, is in your face, and it's like matter of factly. So when you talk about, like, we have counseled couples who the guy, he had to go to anger management because he blocked her from swinging, right? Or just out of a reflex, I'm saying, he did this, and then a mark or something happened. You guys know about how those things could go, and then so if she's being aggressive and now she's being abusive, and then she doesn't have any stopping point, then we always have, it's the ABCs. You have to stop, look, listen, and and escape, be out. You know what I'm saying? Because if she calls the popos, that's the 12. We call them 12. If she called 12. Then it could be some, like you said, DJ KY's repercussion and consequences. Okay, so those things right there, you have to know how to have that strike break. And then one of the things when he said, like Chaz said, go back to it, because in our mind, if it's unsettled as a woman, we're gonna pull out that long file drawer and we're gonna come with you. We're gonna be like that, and it's gonna be like like you the Matrix, you trying to dodge and everything like that, but we're gonna keep coming. But if you settle it, who should be the one to revisit the conversation? The one who need to break, to walk away, or the other person? Hey, look, whoever is calm enough to revisit it, and it may. And listen to this. Let me give you something that happened to us. It took us 2 weeks to come back to revisit something. It took us 2 weeks because neither one of us was ready. And this is how it went. It was like, so you ready to talk about that? No, you ready. Okay, well, all right, we'll talk about it later. But we kept trying to revisit it, and then it really literally took us 2 weeks to revisit it. And then what happens in communication?
She used to come, we need to finish talking about this and all that. And I'm like,
he laughing because he know what was down on the other side of this of the dead end street.
Like, why is that? Why you gotta go there, man?
Exactly. But
But here's
the thing, when you want closure, guys, communication is about it's like Jah, you and your lady, DJ, you and your lady, right? Y'all in the case, y'all in the courtroom, and she's like, and y'all going back and forth, and the judge is like this. The judge is like being ping pong. But when you rest your case and he hit that gavel and you feel understood, then the communication is complete. Communication is not going to be complete if she doesn't feel understood or he doesn't feel understood, and I haven't rested my case because I'm gonna come back. I'm like, my case is not rested, so I'm gonna come back to you and I'm gonna come for you. You know what I'm saying? So we both had to understand that communication first and foremost, after you go through all of the passive, assertive, and aggressive and all other stuff, as you being understood. She wants or he wants to be understood. And that's when the communication is.
Okay, we have one coming from the heart coach here. She says her husband wants to talk right now, but she's the one who wants to walk away and calm down. So that's something that she's stating for us right now.
Right. So the heart coach, if your heart not ready to chat with him, please do walk away, because that's your protection and that's your calm. So you have to come back into the homeostasis part of yourself, coming back home to be calm and I'm ready to receive from you. Because if you're in an emotional state and everybody emotional, I'm not ready to receive you. I'm ready to dot your I and cross your T.
But when you come back,
I'm so glad that we have y'all, because this is truth, and this is what we need to talk about, because it's like you said, there's a lot of us couples who don't let these things out, who don't talk about what's really going on and keep things locked up in a bubble. And as much air that keeps going into it, that bubble's going to expand to where it can't hold it no more.
So
when it pops, it blows everywhere. So you don't know what directions to take anymore. So we thank you again, because I feel this is been about one of the most important shows we've had, and we still going to keep going on, because y'all are dynamic. And all I'm gonna say is, we always used to tell everybody, you don't have a home away from home here. This is home.
Okay.
This is home.
Right.
We want y'all, you're laid back, kick back. That's what we're talking about. And then the relationship, we're talking about relationships on the Real2reel360. You can call in right now, 336-807-9299, and talk to the docs, the master counselors right here. They ready for you. Mr. Chaz and Alicia. They here. Let's get it.
The thing that I have is like the nonverbal communication. That's the things that's not being said that's brought into the relationship, because we talk about the walk away. If an individual has been into abusive relationships and they never actually divulge certain situations or anything else, and they start reacting in that type of form in a relationship, how do you handle that? That
communication.
A lot of times, we have husbands that are non-verbal, but here's the thing.
Yeah, we do coach them, boy.
Your body is going to tell a whole lot, even if you don't communicate.
You see this gap right here?
That's
I'm communicating. I don't want to be bothered with you.
Yeah, the body language is going to tell everything, and it all stems from the concealed fear piece. A lot of people, couples we have, I ain't scared of him or I ain't scared of her. But here's the thing.
But when we get them individually, when we do that individual coaching,
it's still fear-based.
Right.
Okay, you can't get away from it. It's fear. It might not be the fear that you have the knowledge of, but it's fear because the environment might be toxic. The relationship used to be this way, but there's been some episodes and unresolved conversations that led to the nonverbal communication. There's a lot of factors, but here's the thing, right? You have to also take into account, okay, am I leaving? If I'm not leaving, I got to sit here and I have to work this out with my spouse.
Right.
See, when they want to leave, it's like that's the cheaper way out, you know. And then what happens when you leave? Okay, there's regrets that follows after, you know. And then it's like, oh man, what happens? You get to another relationship, you're gonna still have to deal with the same thing because there's gonna be remnants of what happened in the past relationship. It's gonna happen in the new relationship. The thing is, we have to overcome those fears in order for us to move and progress to the next level.
Right. Are we out of time?
No.
We got
so the heart coach. So you said I absolutely walk away because my mouth is cutthroat, but my husband is from Jersey and he's also direct. So he's very assertive in his conversation, right? And both of you are both very assertive. But here's the thing that one of the things that with me, really and seriously, what Chaz was talking about early on in our relationship, I was cutthroat. I had, you know, that tongue of a ready writer. You feel what I'm saying? You know, that sword, that double-edged sword that was coming out, that I was gonna cut you and get you, right? But then one day in my meditation, and I came out of meditation and I looked at my husband and I looked at his countenance. I had really almost destroyed his countenance just by my mouth. Well, you know, they say, you know, that a woman could tear down her house, you know, and you know, brick by brick. So I was like, you know what? I was like, do I want to be that kind of wife where I'm gonna, you know, even though he could be direct himself, assertive himself, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna change the landscape of this and not be that woman that, you know, demasculate or come at him and destroy him. Or see his countenance, you know, just destroyed. Like so that's one of the things heart coach that I want to say to you is that, you know, yeah, we're assertive women, especially women from the north. We're very assertive, right? And then, you know, we can be aggressive too with our conversation. But then if you start changing them, it says a soft answer turns away wrath, right? So, you know, like when he up there and he threw, you know, he like da 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 da. Then you like, hey, why you shouting and yelling like that? You know, why we gotta go all like that? You know what I'm saying? So she get like, so he gonna turn around, it's gonna stop him like, yo, okay. So,
and in short, I want to just kind of touch on that question and add to what Alicia said, but a lot of couples don't know the real meaning of the behavior of a man and the behavior of a woman, right? And what keeps the man fueled. And I want to say this for us in our community, we thrive off respect, right? We have a tough time with society already with respect. We don't want to come home and not get respect from our own home. Okay, respect for a man, it drives us. We come up with more creative ideas. It gets us to the next level, down the road, across town, okay, into the next year with a lot of creative ideas, right? Respect for us is always positive, right? For a woman, it's love and respect, right? I mean, love and security, all right? For the woman, right? If she feels that she's not loved and secure in a type of way, she's not going to be able to give that respect. So if the husband is direct and assertive, won't let up from the conversation, is there any type of respect not given to him? All right. Okay. And then for the wife to be kind of cutthroat, is there any love and security that you're not getting? Because it takes two to get to this point. What is it that we are not getting? Okay. So just wanted to kind of put a little bit more on that.
Now, I have a question. How do you deal with couples who are coming together and making a blended family?
We're a blended family.
We're a blended family.
Right.
Right. So, excuse me, we did a podcast on blended relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the common thing in the blended family relationship is to communicate with everybody.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So at the beginning,
I was just talking with a guy just yesterday to where his daughter is in a blended family with her mother, and she's married, but he's the father. He's having beef with the husband. Right. So it's like the husband's like, no, I got this here. You wasn't here for them and this and that. And it's like the new husband is disrespecting everybody, the wife, the child, and the father.
Right, because it was an incarcerated situation.
Right,
you see what I'm saying?
It was an incarcerated situation.
So she got married while
he was in jail.
While he was incarcerated. So you want to come in, so yeah, you were there, but still is respect, because the man, if he would have been there, you wouldn't be there.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So give the biological dad that respect, like for
or
her,
the mother,
or the mother. I feel like it should be a meeting of the minds, because it takes a village, right?
Right.
And so by him, you don't know if the child was missing his dad, what piece of that he was missing, and true and honestly, you can step up and be a stepdad, so you're stepping in place of the dad while he wasn't there, but then you be the man enough to say, hey, bro, you know what, I wasn't there. But hey, then look, you just slide on into your role, and we both can raise a positive, prosperous king or queen. You feel what I'm saying? So don't feel that you're don't feel that you're we're gonna keep
go ahead.
Pause that
go ahead, say what you're saying.
So don't feel that you're that you have to step up. Like I'm a stepmom, right? I wasn't trying to take the place of my son's mother. You understand what I'm saying? But where she lacked, you best to believe that I was there. You know what I'm saying? So if she was lacking somewhere, you come to me, you come to Queen Mama, because she gonna make sure it happened for you, right? The same thing with Chaz. When he came into I had a son, he had a son together. We had two young men. Right. But we made it a point. We weren't trying to take over or take that position, because if you can't take that position because you're not the biological dad or a mom.
And if the dad
understand, respect the position.
And for dads, right? For the stepdads, I've always kept in my mind, I have to make room for the biological dad to be a dad, right? I'm not taking the place of dad,
right?
But I'm a stand in and a fill in just in case something goes wrong or whatever that's needed. But the dad has to have an opportunity to be a dad. That's his right. He is the biological father. Yes. I cannot take that away.
Right.
If you feel that you have to, if you feel that way that you have to take over to be the dad, okay, it's time to kind of rethink that, because that's his right to be a dad.
Right. And then put aside the jealousy and the emotions, because this child don't need to see that. He don't need to see, his parents fighting, because you're all, you're a step parent and a parent, and they don't need to see all of that.
Right. I know last year I met a guy who was a bounty hunter, right? And the brother couldn't communicate with the mother. So the dad reached out to the biological dad, and now the two dads are in control of the monies. They are in control of the visitation rights. The dads are the one that actually shared custody, and the mother had to fall in line because the two dads can agree on the well-being of the child.
Exactly.
So, Dr. Harris has this question.
Okay.
What do you do when you clearly see a couple that should not get married, Red flags are present, and there are many. As coaches, how do you handle?
Just say no. I'm gonna get it, but really, no, seriously though, that's plain and simple though. And honestly, we're not gonna sign off because we do certificates. We give you a certificate of that you have went completion, through completion that you have went through premarital. But Doc, this is what we do. Seriously, we pull them to the side and we say, you know, you guys have had 6 to 8 sessions with us, right? And usually they make the decision though, because we really don't have to. We really don't say it. They kind of say, hey, you know what? We decided, to put that marriage on hold. We still got a lot of work to do, right? And then sometime they'll come back. But all honesty, if we had to, we would not sign off on it.
Gotcha. And the thing is, we find that a lot with couples who live together, right?
Yeah.
When they live together and they want to go ahead and get married, there is a lot of red flags in that situation. And a lot of times it's like, okay, after they come through us, it's like, yeah, we shouldn't get married, right? We shouldn't get married because we took the smart route to go to some experienced coaches to find out what's going on with us. And a lot of times we want the happy ending,
right?
But a lot of times the realization comes into place and it's like, thank you, but we chose not to get married.
Right. So, and we get that. And we get that. And that's the reason why we tell them from the beginning, please commit to 6 to 8 weeks, because 6 to 8 weeks, we digging through the weeds, we digging through the trash. We're gonna go through your trash.
Yeah.
We're gonna want to see what's in that bag, you know. So that's why once they commit to those 6 to 8 weeks, usually with once we put on these investigative hats, and we be like, ooh,
because we do a lot of listening and taking notes.
And we ask a lot of questions.
So is it difficult to transition from shacking up to becoming married?
Well, actually, no, it's not.
It's not, no.
Because you're already living a married lifestyle.
You just haven't,
right? You just haven't gotten the license. You just haven't had
ceremony, went to the courthouse,
or you just hadn't had that. And when we have couples that come in to us that are living together, I'm like, the shacking is. We're shacking. I mean, it's
old school. That's something.
When you go to church, and then the pastor find out you shacking, then he bring you before the and then he say, hey, just want to let you know so and so is shacking, and they want to confess so trauma. Hey, I'm sorry, but that's trauma for me. But anyway, but here's the thing. When couples come into us that are living together, y'all living together. Y'all literally going to wake up tomorrow. So we're going to talk to you as if you are already married.
A married couple. And we're going to teach you from the marriage principle. And that's their baseline.
Because everything is in place as if you were married when you're living together. Okay. The mail comes to the house. Your address, both of your addresses are the same. For a couple to live together for a long period of time. We had a couple of couples that's been living together for 10 years and never tied the knot, and then have children that's born into that.
So we work. We really go deep.
So we really go in deep and treat you as if you are already married.
Okay.
And turning that single life into a married life.
A married life. So when they get married. Right. So when they get married, there's no transition because the coaches have already talking to you as a married couple. Once you do the wedding deal, it's it's no change.
And the other thing to add on to that is we're talking to you to change your single-mindedness, because you're living together. in a single-mindedness, right? So we're talking to you to change that single-mindedness to a married mindset, because you can still get married, and we have found that, like, you know, we're like, no, we're gonna talk to you as a married couple, because you're in the house, but you're like, I have mine, he has his, that's his car, her, you know, her food, you know. So if you went into that living arrangement like that, then we have to change that. That mindset has to change.
Now, let me ask this, because it's very important, I think, to other people out here to understand. When y'all do your premarital counseling or in the marital counseling, most people who may come to you, because everybody's got different beliefs. So you're definitely gonna have to be able to put away what y'all feel and just communicate with the humane side, as far as let's take religion out the question, because you may get some couples that may not be religious, but they have
we got all of them. We got you know, yeah, we got you know, Christian, Muslim, Muslim, one atheist, you know, we got them all, you know.
We have them all, because the religion,
street dudes and CNAs.
What's that now?
Street dudes and CNAs.
Them too. We had matter of fact, from New Jersey. So them too. But here's the thing with that, right? Religion plays a part, but it's one of those things that we look at. You're married, okay, right? You're married, you're living as a married couple. Things there in the relationship is still the same,
because marriage is marriage.
Marriage is marriage.
It's marriage. If I'm from Japan, I'm married. If I'm from Iraq or Iran, I'm married. You understand what I'm saying? At the marriage ceremony, however it works, however it goes, you're married. You're still married. It's still you're still under the umbrella of marriage.
Right? Now the only difference religion brings in is if someone say, well, I was taught this or I was taught that, you know, this is my belief from my religion, and we'll deal with that as it comes. But ultimately, you're married, okay? Right. She feels this way. She feels this way. You feel that way, and you have children. You know, what can we do to help you get over what she did last night? Ain't got nothing to do with religion. It's just that, okay, y'all got in an argument. Y'all came into a disagreement. How can we fix that?
Good.
Right. Now, can you explain to like our audience what is the actual sanctity of marriage? Because a lot of people just look for the certificate and they say that I got a spouse. Can you talk to the actual sanctity of marriage?
So here's the thing with the sanctity of marriage. That's a great question. The way we look at it is marriage is an exchange for weaknesses, right? For strengths. Right?
Strengths or weaknesses.
Strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
Right. But here's the thing about marriage. You can't get married and you still having that wandering eye, if you will. Okay. Right. Hope I'm answering your question here. Marriage has to be, okay, this is my wife. I have to do everything I can to please my wife.
But we're human though, right? So you're gonna look.
Yeah, you're gonna look.
So
okay,
you're gonna. But what I'm saying is, effect. Don't be
you're gonna watch. Yeah, you're gonna look.
You can't go through life with blinders on.
You're gonna look.
You're gonna look.
But here's the thing: is don't engage.
Right, just be like, hey, mom, let me holler at you, man. You know,
making arrangements to meet up, all of that. You know. Right.
So I
take it like, okay, whenever we consummated our marriage and honeymoon, she's taking on my spirit, I'm taking on her spirit. I have to cherish her spirit. She has to cherish my spirit, right? If that's not protected, if it's not defended, if it's not true to your heart, okay, well, what is sanctity of marriage? I mean, it's just you're leaving a wide open gate for everything to come into your marriage to split you apart.
But thereby, like he said, though, what you just said, a wide open gate. Some people have open marriages, right? So if you agreed to an open marriage, then usually that's what.
And a lot of times, a lot of couples and they have this idea that's going to make it better to have an open marriage.
There's rules to that game too.
There's rules to it. But what happens when it comes to just that one that's better than you?
Exactly. And then
you ain't obeying the rules.
But you know what? we've had one that the girl that the one that came in, not the spouse of the spouse, but the one that came in, she was better than the wife. So his preference became that. She became jealous. So, it became like, oh, so then we're divorced. Then you marry the swinger that come into the marriage, right? But then y'all not even working out because she's swinging with Tom, Dick, and Harry. Excuse my language, but you understand what I'm saying. So when the sanctity of it, like they're like, oh yeah, we could swing, we swingers. But I'm telling you, that jealousy hit when like he said, I look over there, and she doing things to him that she don't do to me. Right. So you gotta be careful with that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a thin line, very thin.
Now the thing is, when you notice that a couple is into, because open marriages are basically considered lustful relationships.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on, Mr. PhD.
Lustful relationships. Now, if individuals come to your coaching session and they start talking on that level, is that the advice that you give them, far as you might want to fall back from getting married or anything like that?
See, those are non-traditional couples, right? And then so when after that, everything, the whole session just stops.
It has to stop.
It stops because we will tell you that that we're not the one to coach you for that because then our opinions and beliefs will come into place because we believe in two becoming one. Right. Not becoming one. Can't do that up. Come on now, what's the mathematics for the day? But no, seriously, you can't get 4 can't be. It just doesn't work.
No, 4 don't go into 1 like that.
4 and 1 ain't gonna work like that.
No.
Right.
Here's Dr. Harrison. Many are now questioning marriage, asking what are the benefits and that it benefits men more than women. So many relationships gurus are questioning marriage or encouraging others to question. I'm not exactly sure how I'm following that, but
no.
So here's the thing with people questioning marriage. A lot of high level citizens, intellectual citizens, okay, people who have money, saying that they feel that marriage is an old institution, right? Okay, it's not meant for me, okay? But all at the same time, you want to be with somebody for the rest of your life. So when you want to be with somebody for the rest of your life, marriage comes up. This thing about living together, okay, and not wanting to be married.
Right. I'm your life partner, but I'm not good enough to be your life partner as your wife or your husband.
But you want to live with them.
But you want to live with me. You got to. What's the scenario of that? So how does that come in place? And the other thing is, the question in marriage, people, we could question a lot of things. We could just question what's going on in the world today. You know what I'm saying? When if you start questioning some things, it's going to lead to it's going to go from one question to the next to the other question. But what is the baseline of marriage? It's two becoming one.
Two becoming one.
right?
Yep.
And there's no mathematics to it. It's two becoming one. It's like Chaz said, I'm exchanging your spirit for mine, and then there's the safety in that, and it's the sanctity of marriage.
Yes,
because when I come home, I don't have to worry about looking, like if I'm in the, walking to my car, if I'm in the street, whatever, what I'm saying, head on the swivel. When I come home, I'm able to come home. So when your body is able to come back to the word that I mentioned before, homeostasis, is when you're able to relax and everything comes back into line, all the fluids and everything that's why they tell you, not to really sleep in a chair, but to lay flat, because, all your lymph nodes and stuff like that, everything is able to relax at a even level. So you got to be careful when you not able to go back, if you're not able to go back home, you know what I'm saying? So your home is your sanctity, and it's not with, like you have all of these people living with you and stuff like that. You're not gonna feel, when in doubt, do without. Peace to the God. But seriously, when but with your it's the sanctity, and I'm safe with him. Like when I'm out there and I'm traveling and I had to do things for work and stuff like that, and I'm traveling, whatever, my first thought is, I'm coming back home to you by any means necessary. You better believe I'm gonna get back home to you. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then while I'm out there, I'm like, I'm looking and I'm thinking, but when I get back home, I'm like, man, it's like a relief. It's a like sigh of relief. Like, man, it's safety. I'm safe. Safe.
Can relationships either be before marriage or during? Because sometimes there are still deep, dark secrets that one side may have or both sides may have that have yet to be concealed because it came from past.
Right.
Let's just say came from past. So one could be triggered and not knowing that they may have caused a reaction from a way back time, has nothing to do with the present, but what was said stimulated that thought and could cause a rift. So do you think it's very vital to try to dig as deep as we can to each other's dark secrets and make sure that doesn't happen, or we just deal with it? Do we deal with it as it comes?
Yeah, go ahead.
The latter. You deal with it as it comes, because if you go and like Chaz said, keep poking the bear, or like the lion is in the cage and you like this, and once he get out, he out. He gonna tear up the house, he clawing, and he's doing a whole bunch of stuff, he or she. When it comes, he or she has to be real in tune with themselves, because when it came for us, and I had to say, he was like, why you went so hard with just that little, it was something about the car, right? Mm-hmm. So he was like, you really went way to the left on that.
That's what I wanted you to
say. Right? So when I went way to the left, and then, he was at the car dealership and I hung up the phone on him. So I'm sitting at my desk and I'm saying to myself, so I started soul searching. I'm going through the files. I'm going backwards, right? You know what I'm saying? Now I'm coaching myself. I'm like, okay, what the hell going on? And so I'm just like going in, right? So as I'm coaching myself, then when he came in, I was like, babe. He was like, he already still mad. He driving home. He like, she say this, I'm gonna say this. He said, I'm gonna know what. But when he came through the door now, when he came in, I was like, babe. He was like, what? I was like, I know where it came from. When I told him where it came from, he was like, that is crazy. And guess where it came from? 137 Stevens Street, bro. It came from my childhood.
She did. Yep.
I was like, yo, a car? DJ KY's a thing? But seriously.
And we never talk about that, because I was left in limbo saying, like, okay, if I touch this car, okay, it's gonna become trauma for me because I don't know where it comes from for her.
Right.
So when we talked about that, it was one of those things where it was a relief for me, because now I know the origin
of it.
of that thing.
But after 13 years, we talking about this just recently. After 13 years, this car thing just came up, and he was like, "Yo, we never dealt with that. How you dealing with that right now?" Because it struck a nerve, or it peeled back that scab, that awful, scab that hurt. And so when it peeled it back, it was like, okay, now it's time to deal with it. But don't just try to drudge up everything at one time. Deal with it as it comes. And that's what happened to us. Speaking true life right there.
I tell you, we've been on here about an hour and a half. We done been over 30 minutes because this is so impactful.
Absolutely.
I hate to cut it short because there's so much information, but we would love to bring y'all back on. So
Absolutely.
Say the word, man. Say the word.
It's definitely needed for us to understand what relationships and marriages and how they work and what's needed to make sure that they keep working. So at this moment, Kay, at this moment, Alicia and Chaz, could y'all please tell our audience how they can get in touch with y'all, your websites, your podcasts, and everything else?
So you can you go with the websites. Go ahead.
Oh no. Okay. Well, the website is www.authenticlovemarriagecoaching.org. Yeah, there it is, right there. That's how you can reach us, and we're also on Facebook, YouTube. Also, you can find us on TikTok and Instagram. Instagram as well. Yeah. So this is how you can find us. But also we would love for you, if you need us, please authenticate your marriage. You see where it says authenticate your marriage. That's what we're about. It's like, that little line just going through, and it's just saying, okay, authenticate. Boo, we write out authentication. So that's one of our heartbeats. Authenticate your marriage.
And you can also follow us on YouTube, on our YouTube page, Your Authentic Love Marriage Coaching, where we do our weekly podcast called Your Authentic Love Marriage Moment with Chaz and Alicia. Right now, we're doing a series on communication in marriage. All right. Yep. So, hey, guys, thank you so
boss.
much.
Thank you. Thank you to your
now I
audience.
know when I'm doing searches and I see y'all pop up, man. Hey, I'm gonna subscribe, man. Because y'all boys, man, y'all got the big hitters on here. We in that group of guests that comes on this show. Man, thank you. Now I know, man. I know who y'all are now, man. Thank y'all so much, man.
I want to say, thank y'all, because this show for me was meaningful because, like I said, it's not strangers. This is family that came on today, and it's always been love for my family. And I love to see y'all grow and the things that y'all doing is so meaningful and so beautiful that y'all actually are coming together as a married couple to help other married couples. So I want to thank y'all for coming on and give us like 2 minutes afterwards so we could talk it up, chop it up. And, like I said, fam, it's always love. You know what I mean? We Stephen Street till we gone,
Till we gone, baby, all day.
And Chaz, you know what I'm saying? You family too, you know what I mean? So you were heard, you family. So what I mean? It's nothing but love, and thank you so much for coming in.
Passage, baby. You got the right
You Stephen Street now, baby.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, hey, man, thank you so much, because, man, I'm telling you, first time I was, she took me to Stephen Street.
We're gonna chop that later.
Wow.
We're gonna chop that later.
All right.
Peace to my righteous brothers. I know that's absolutely. We're gonna chop that up with 2 minutes later, so we'll get it off camera.
Okay.
Well, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Cohen, we truly thank you. We salute y'all. We give y'all everything. And we are definitely looking forward to having y'all come back home, the next segment, because there's more questions. There's definitely more questions. And from our viewers, it's definitely a phenomenal show that they want to. And I'm getting so many stuff hits. And if you see, my wife was commenting on there as well. So I hope I can go. I hope I can get in the bed, not the couch. So people,
tell I love her. Tell I love her.
But no, it's been a pleasure. It's been a phenomenal. and we're gonna chop it up in the chat room in the back for a minute. So we're gonna take y'all off as we say goodbye. Job, before you go, you know what we do. We got we got coming up next.
We got a line with Alicia to help those single people find relationship and love. This week we're doing a series on relationships and love, and also too we're going to address, emotional sex abuse and everything else this week when it comes down to dating an individual who has been sexually abused and things like that. So we're going to deal with the pros and cons. We're going to also teach you coping skills and how to become a better person in your relationship.
38 years old.
Okay.
Hey, Doc, she was 38, Doc.
Yeah. Give me hope. Yeah. All right. Well, once again, we're going to pull everybody off. It's been a pleasure. To Allah's mighty 5% nation of gods and earth, to all the human families of the planet Earth, we salute you with love, peace, and happiness. This is DJ K Wise and my co-host with the most, Jahshamel Allah, and our special guests, Chaz and Alicia Cohens. Listen, authentic love marriage coaches, y'all. Check them out. Go get them. If you need their help, you know where to go. All right. No excuses.
No excuses. We look, just come on home.
That's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're starting to come to the end of the show, and I want to take the time out and thank our guests for coming on. Also, too, I want to make sure that y'all listening and subscribing, and tell a friend and tell a friend, and keep sharing, because we're going to keep bringing y'all the real content. So, DJ KY, brother, take us up out of here, son. Peace. I want to give a big shout out to the nation of God and earth, to all the human families that I say peace. You are the one I have to go to the watch. Show every time we come over, I give a big shout out. I love you. The man, woman, and child of the youth are not first. It's time for us to disperse. We bring the best, not the worst. We thank you once again for tuning in to the Real360. Bring a friend to hit that like and subscribe, so we continue to grow to bring more knowledge and wisdom to you upon our show. You make it